This chapter is about selection. Now, this is an essentials course on Illustrator, and I can't think of anything more essential than selection. To me, selection is a very keystone type of skill because you need to be able to select something to change it. Now, in this lesson, this particular movie, we're going to concentrate just on one tool. This one right here. That's the selection tool. You can access that tool by pressing the letter V on your keyboard. We do have two more tools here, which we will get to in the next movie. We have a magic wand tool and a lasso tool. All of those tools are designed to do one thing for us. They are designed to help us make selections. So let's talk about the magic of selection. I think most people know that we are driving a vector program, and it's also called object-oriented. Object-oriented programs have objects. Photographs, like in Adobe Photoshop, that's pixels. That's a different world. If I come over here with the selection tool selected and pop right here and grab and drag, I can pull that piece of our magician right off his face. I can press undo, which I love, to put him right back in. Selection involves going over physically with this tool and clicking on something to make it selected. Once it's selected, we can do anything we want to it, as you'll see in these lessons. Let's do this, though. Let's look at some of the ways that we can modify our selection. Now, we go up to the word Illustrator on a Macintosh, or you go to the word Edit in Windows to go to Preferences. In Preferences, go to Selection and Anchor Display. Let's talk a little bit about this stuff. Pull that up so you can see it. Number one, you have a tolerance number right here. Now, what is that? Tolerance is how close you have to be to an object before when you click, it becomes selected. Now, that number is totally up to you. Just understand that the bigger the number, the more random. The smaller the number, the more precise. Now, you can also select this, object selection by path only. Now, that means, if say we get out of here for a second, I can come over here and I can select an object just by getting into it if it has a fill. But if I turn that option on, come back out again, you will notice that I can only select things if I get right on the line or the stroke. If I get in the middle right here, it won't select. You might ask the question, why would I want to do that? The answer to that is probably something like this. I want to be very precise when I make my selections. I don't want to mess around, so I want to say object selection by path only. I usually don't use that one. I'm going to turn that back off. You have a snap to point. How close do you have to be before you snap to the next point? The default's 2, and that's on by default. All these are the defaults, incidentally. Command click to select objects behind. Well, let me show you that one too. Check out the magician's shirt, and you'll notice there is something underneath it, the rest of that arm. Let me put that back again. With my selection tool, if I come over here and click, I can get the shirt. But it doesn't matter how many times I click, I'm only getting the shirt. But if I know there's something under there and I want to get to it, I can hold down the Command key. That's the Control key in Windows, same key, different name. And when I click again, I can get that underneath piece. That's what that means. If you don't want to utilize that option, you can turn that off. Let's go ahead and get out of here and back into Preferences again. Down here, you can change the way your anchor points and handles display. Do you want them smaller? Do you want them larger? Do you want, for example, the handles to be kind of like this, which actually makes them easier to see? These are the defaults that we're using right now. It's up to you if you want to change them. You can have this option, highlight anchors on mouse over. So when you mouse over an anchor, it actually highlights it, shows you it's there. Usually I like that and I leave that on. And the last one down here is show handles when multiple anchors are selected. So if you're working on a curved object and it's got handles, like these, and you select more than one anchor point, you can do that with a shift click. You're only going to get the handles on the one that's the active one. You can go click on the others to get the handles. Now, I usually don't like that one because it makes things in really complicated artwork very cluttered. So I usually turn that one off. But those are the options that we have when we're working with selection in Adobe Illustrator. On to the next.